Trying to figure out where my Muscovy ducks. Oh, there's one right there. Snow, this is their first winter. Oh, there they are. Look at that. Hi guys and gals. Seem to be doing just fine. Everybody says they do just fine in the winter as long as they got. And that's one thing, you know, everybody is always worried about winter. We act like it's a bad thing, you know, but you got to learn to find the beauty and the good in all things. Well, we got our first snow yesterday. So I've gone out to check on cows, horses, birds, you name it. Get the muck boots on. Already starting to melt, which is good. Oh, the horses are inside the wire. Let the goats out to go forage. Looks like they're waiting on me. Like, where have you been? Where's the puppy? Chief! There he is. What are you doing? He's all tired from being on night duty. What are you doing, puppy? Did I interrupt your beauty sleep, huh? Did I interrupt your beauty sleep, huh? Yeah, alright. You can go and go back. Nope, there's old Hank strutting his stuff. Yeah, I got a wire popping. It's been popping before, so I need to fix it. Actually, that's the culprit right there. I don't even know if you can see that sparking or not. Check on the birds. Finally actually started getting some eggs, and there's one in there now. And we have a few new layers, a couple new layers I've got a few eggs from. So the horses are not supposed to be in this section here. I had this wired off so we could get some grass growing back. So yeah, the solar charger is not charged very good right now, and it looks like maybe the wire came down somewhere, so they just walked right in here, didn't even see it, especially with the snow on the ground now. So I'll probably just take the wire down now and let them go through here, because there's not a whole lot of stockpile in here, but there's enough in here for them to keep eating at least a few more weeks, hopefully, before we got to start feeding them hay. So there's too much ice right now on the wire, so I think I'm going to let it warm up a bit before I unroll it, but I just unrolled this one section so that they can come out of here and get to the water and all that kind of stuff, because they may not know that they can come out of here wherever they came in from. I got cows hollering at me out there too, and they're actually in a section that they're not supposed to be in now too, so I need to go check on them and see. They got plenty of grass out there, but the snow may have hindered them somewhat, but they'll figure it out. Trying to figure out where my Muscovy ducks. Oh, there's one right there. And how they're faring in this snow. This is their first winter. Oh, there they are. Look at that. Hi guys and gals. Well, one guy and all the rest gals. Seem to be doing just fine. Everybody says they do just fine in the winter as long as they got a place to get out of the wind and keep warm. They got their down coats on. Hi, pretty girl. How are you? Coming to see if I got some food, huh? So this pond eventually will freeze over completely, and so we'll see what they do. I've tried to coax them into the pen, into the coop where I have heat lamps for them to get in at night, but they don't seem to want anything to do with it, so we'll see what happens. But everybody said, people have these ducks in Michigan and stuff, and said they do fine in the snow and all that kind of stuff. They just need a warm place to get to. But if we get a lot more snow, which we don't usually get a lot, but sometimes we do, I don't know, they know, they go over there to eat. That's where they eat mainly, is at the coops. So they'll probably go in there, I guess, if they feel like they need to get warm and get out of the wind and all that kind of stuff. There you guys are. I Figured you was out here somewhere. I got 6, 5 hens and 1 drake. He's the big one there in the middle. Hi, pretty girl. Yeah. How are you guys? They coming over to see if I got anything for them. I throw them some food on occasion. There have been some wild mallards hanging out with them, although I haven't seen them for maybe a day or 2. Why are you guys over here? The grass is over there. You think you're gonna get some hay here for me or something? See? Aretha's got it figured out. So they are all doing just fine. Well, I suppose except Jersey Girl. So the rest of these cows are all grass genetic. So they look fat and happy. Jersey Girl looks like she's lost a little weight. Although she's used to us starting to throw her hay by this time. So she was up here hollering at us. But she's back there eating grass, so she's gonna have to learn. But the rest of them are all fat and happy because they're all grass genetic. The goats are out here. They tend to gravitate wherever I'm at in case I might have some food to throw them. But there's a lot of forage out here. Although the snow makes it lay down, they'll find it. And so rotational grazing this year really did wonders. Normally we'd be throwing hay by now, or just starting to at least. But we got plenty of forage, and so we're gonna go as far into winter as we can. See how that goes. Come on, how are you, girl? Huh? Hi, Brandy. How are you, girl? How are you, pretty girl? Uh-huh. Miss Alpha Goat. She's our alpha female. She's older, but she don't take no guff off the youngins. Not yet anyways. She's still spry enough that she can teach them a lesson. So winter's coming, to hell with that, winter is here. But we just got through checking on everybody. Everybody's doing just fine. But this is just the start. This is just the beginning. Pond is starting to freeze over. Up here where it's more shallow, you can see the ice. And we've got 3 ducks up here and 2 more headed this way. 3 more, taking their time. As long as they got open water, they like to be in the water. It's funny now, this is like their go-to place, whereas I had a hard time getting them to get in the water to begin with because they'd never been around a pond before. I raised them from ducklings, and they had a little tray full of water that they could get in and splash around and stuff, and I thought, oh, no problem. So I started feeding them out here along the edge of the pond, and it took about a week. I mean, they waded in the edge of the pond a little bit right off the bat, but they wouldn't swim for about a week. And then finally one day I came out and they were out here splashing around, having a good old time. It's like, hey man, we're built for this stuff. More goats. Goats followed me in. So everybody knows that around this time of year they start getting thrown hay, and this year we're not doing it yet. We're going as far into winter without feeding hay as we can. We got some hay on stockpile. Hey Brandy girl, how are you? And so there's plenty of forage out here, so they're gonna just forage. Good girl. She's eating thistles. You can see we got a whole ton of thistles this year, and I was gonna cut them, but I didn't. So the goats are out here eating them. That's always good. Goats are so funny. They're entertaining too. Good goats. Yeah. Get those thistles. You know, it's actually really beautiful out here with this dusting of snow. And that's one thing, you know, everybody is always worried about winter. We act like it's a bad thing, you know, and it can be harsh, but you got to learn to find the beauty and the good in all things. And so if you can see and enjoy the beauty of nature out here, that's how you should live your life. Seriously. Females are doing that. They do this little ritual where they push their heads back and forth. It's pretty interesting. So that's the male over there. We have to break that negative cycle that our culture has taught us since we were kids. And it's been our culture for generations, unfortunately. And you can simply do that by looking for the good in everything. You know, just like here. Instead of being all negative about, ooh, there's snow, it's cold. You know, we might have to start feeding hay soon and all this kind of stuff. It's like, look at the beauty. A dusting of snow makes everything beautiful. So it's like a cleansing, it's like a reset. We got the horses and the cows and everybody out here, all just doing what they do, following nature. You know, it's not the same kind of beauty, I guess, that you see in the spring and the summer, but it still has its own beauty to it. So this area that we're in southern Idaho is actually high desert, so this is a lot of forage for high desert. One of the things that I want to talk about is judgment. Unfortunately, it happens to be a national pastime where we spend a lot of time judging other people and they us. The first thing I want to put out there is that when somebody is judging you, it absolutely has nothing to do with you. It's all about them. It's what they are assigning to you in their perception, and it has nothing to do with you. But we tend to take it on or get offended or what have you, especially if it's a negative judgment, which it usually is, unfortunately. And it's the same thing for us when we judge somebody, especially negatively. It has nothing to do with them. It's us. We're making the assignment of what we think of that person. And we're actually reflecting something within ourselves when we do that. Well, that's why they say, you know, what's the old saying? What you say to me bounces off me and sticks to you like glue, or something like that when we were kids. So what's the point of this then? What if somebody actually does something mean or harmful to you? Well, yeah, you have a right to be angry and to defend yourself and that sort of thing if necessary. However, I have found that if you think of others in a positive light, despite what they may be doing, they'll reflect that back to you eventually. I've done this with family members and so on. I did a video on this, on how to heal family relationships without even talking to the person. We are all connected, and the way you think of somebody, even if you never say it or express it to them in any way, shape, or form, it actually influences their behavior, especially towards you. So if you think somebody's an a-hole, they're going to continue to reflect that back at you. And I've seen some miraculous changes by deciding to see them in their highest light, in their best potential. It's the same thing in politics and in religion. So, you know, the majority of the people think that our politicians are all crooks. Unfortunately, most of them are. Are we having an influence on that? Well, people say, no, there's no way. They're choosing to be crooks, we're just observing. But we continue to see them as that. Maybe if we try in our imagination and see us having politicians that actually represent us, that are honest, have integrity, and so on and so forth. They don't try to rule over us. They try to implement the will of the people for good. I know that would have a positive influence on the politics in our country and in other countries too. But that's a hard cycle to break, especially when they're smacking you in the face with their actions, you know, contrary to that. That's one of the hardest things. This is a Neville Goddard technique. It's why I suggest trying it on smaller things or lesser things, so to speak, first, so that you can see that it actually works. Like I said, I have changed how family members who treated me not very well treat me kindly now because I saw them in their best light and chose to do that. And I have a video on that about how to heal your family relationships, as I've mentioned. This speaks to being able to have a peaceful and abundant and life of goodwill despite what may be going on around you. 3D reality, what we see around us, is our thoughts and beliefs crystallized. It's the past. We actually live in the past. Like, I have a friend who sometimes complains about people never calling him and never getting in touch with them, even though he calls them and tries to get in touch with them on a regular basis, and they just ghost him. And so he assumes that they're avoiding him, they don't like him, what have you. And that may be true, may or may not be true. But I told him, why don't you assume that they're busy, they got things going on, etc., and that they'll call you, and then imagine them calling you and saying, hey man, I just wanted to check in to see how you're doing, or whatever you might think that they're going to say, and just live in that, and that they'll call you eventually. Because I've done that before. If I haven't heard from somebody in a long time and I want to hear from them, I just start imagining them calling me on the phone. And it doesn't take long. Try it. Don't take my word for it. That's one way you can try to see how your thoughts influence people and things around you. All right, my friends, I think that's going to do it for this one. Don't judge others because you're only reflecting yourself in the mirror mainly. All right, talk to you soon.